Hi, everybody. Good morning. Running a little late today. It's almost 11 a.m. I am meteorologist Bob Maxon coming to you from the NBC Connecticut Weather Lab, and uh, kind of a medium to big deal today. We have precipitation overspreading the state as expected here during the late morning. It's falling in the form of what I can tell snow and some sleet pellets mixed in, and drop into the comments and tell me what's happening at your house as far as precipitation, because it's going to be a menagerie today, a potpourri of precipitation, starting as some snow, and that snow and sleet can accumulate, especially the further north you live. It's not going to be a lot, it never was supposed to be. But our concerns really, if this thing can hold together, our concerns will be freezing rain and rain later this afternoon into this evening. And it all comes down to something that you'll probably find to be interesting. Snowing in Wethersfield. Thank you, Julie. Right now, this time of year, we're past March 1st, meteorological spring. We talk about it all the time that the sun angle is getting higher and higher, and the sun itself, when the angle gets higher, the sun's stronger. As we move toward the spring equinox in March, later this month, 17 days away. And that's when the sun's rays are directly above the equator. Then we head toward the Tropic of Cancer for the summer solstice. It's called the seasons, and seasons change. Well, I'm sure you felt it on Saturday, especially. The sun is strong. If you're someone that skis or snowboards, you know that the sun gets stronger in March and the snow conditions change, but you feel it on your face. And back before helmets, you used to get raccoon eyes because, and this is not to offend any raccoons, of course, but you'd get suntan and burn on your forehead and your cheeks and your nose, but your eyes would be still protected by the goggles. So you look kind of silly at après-ski after skiing in the sun in March, because the strong March sun bounces off the snow and can give you a sunburn. So that same sun is up there right now, and it's radiating through the clouds, and it will make it tough for anything to accumulate on the road surfaces. Why the roads? Have you noticed the color? Yeah, they're darker in shade and in color. They're gray top. They're not really black top, but darker colors absorb more warmth. So for a big chunk of the day today, it can precipitate, but it probably won't create big issues unless the rate of precipitation gets to such that it overcomes that. And once you coat the road, it's kind of hard to bring it back unless there's traffic and treatments, which of course we'll have. So with that in mind, when the sun goes down is when our concerns become heightened. And that would be, lower in the sky after 4 o'clock. And once it gets lower in the sky, we lose that help, and untreated surfaces can become very slippery, like your driveway, path, deck, parking lots. Most surfaces are treated, I get it, but some of that's washed away in the melting snow. So there can be and will be ice. Okay, it's just a matter of how much. Okay, this is not an easy forecast. And with that, it's also kind of high stakes, because if you watched the news this morning, you look at our app, a lot of schools closed, and you could feel the tension. Folks coming into work are parents. They're like, what in the world? I'm like, give it some time, because it may not be a problem right now, but we got precipitation coming down, and then we'll start to deal with this setting sun. So snowing in Middletown, snowing in Wethersfield, starting to snow in Cromwell. Good morning. Snowing in Newington. A lot of central Connecticut folks checking in right now. That's great. I'd love to hear what's happening out in western Connecticut too. So if and when you're viewing, wow, a lot of people on too. So let's dive into it. Okay, let's get into the weather rundown. Try to make this kind of quick and painless. Mixed precipitation overspreading now. We'll get to radar in just a minute. Some snow and sleet at the onset, and then some snow and sleet changing to rain. The problem is the temperatures are cold. That reminds me, before we go too far, I want to put the current temperature maps into the show stack, which we'll get to here, because temperatures at the surface are pretty important for sure. So I just did that. And it was a really cold morning too. In fact, let me put that up there. I'm kind of flying on the seat of my pants, had a meeting today, so that's why I'm running a little bit behind my normal schedule. So a late afternoon freeze on untreated surfaces. Now, before that happens, freezing rain can certainly accrete on power lines, not a big concern, but tree limbs. Tree limbs are cold. So we're not looking at a huge amount of accretion, but maybe enough to create some issues. Certainly get your attention when you start to see the ice accumulate on the tree branches and that sort of thing. This isn't some storm on steroids where we're going to get a big ice issue, but all it takes is a little, and that's our concern. It's also short-lived because overnight tonight, the precipitation will wind down. I think tomorrow morning with some breaks in the overcast, if we get above freezing at all, we'll go back below freezing, so some ice can form again tomorrow morning. But then it looks like the sun comes out and temperatures move well up into the 40s tomorrow, maybe even 50 degrees. That's tomorrow. All right, live pictures. From Mystic, where it's just cloudy. Good morning, Mystic. You're beautiful even when it's cloudy. And check out Litchfield. Okay, so snow coming down at a light. Yeah, it's still light. That's light snow. On social media, that would be called thumping. It's not thumping. We can still see several hundred yards, quarter mile. Let's say it's light to moderate snow. Remember, the sun's up. So notice how it's not sticking on the black topped roofs or right now the roads. But if it snows too hard, it obviously will overcome that. But the sidewalks are gray and cold. So you might get a little bit of snow accumulating on those. But there you go. You got some steady snow falling in Litchfield. So if I'm a parent, my kid goes to Wagamo. I hope I pronounced that right. And they were closed today. I feel better about it. Okay. So before we freak out at all the superintendents, they have hard jobs. Let's take a chill pill because I think it's going to be a tricky afternoon. These were the morning lows. Boy, it really was cold out in eastern Connecticut. Single digits in Stonington. It was clear. We saw the beginning of the lunar eclipse, and then the clouds came in. As the clouds came in, the temperatures were elevated because of that in parts of elevated teens, which is unusually cold for this time of year. We saw the beginning of the lunar eclipse, and then the clouds came in, and we lost it. It's kind of a bummer. So, radar. This is showing snow falling. We know there is some sleet mixed in, but it's mostly snow. But notice, as you look at the Hartford area, there's some steady snow starting to develop. Like it is snowing here at the station. I showed you it's snowing in Litchfield under this dark, let's do this. I just showed you the camera in Litchfield, and it's under one of these darker blue bands. We're kind of here in West Hartford. It's snowing steadily, but I wouldn't say heavily. Probably snowing in Windsor Locks and up through the hills. Some light snow in Cromwell and Middletown and over to Newington and over to Waterbury. And but then you see these things, and this is what makes weathermen crazy. Holes in the radar. It's not a solid batch of snow coming in, but I can put it in motion. If you want high impact, you want to see a solid swath of precipitation and the holes be filling in. Now, there is more precip to the west, don't worry. But this is what we kind of look at. We're like, that's not the healthiest looking radar, but as I showed you in Litchfield, all it takes is a bit. And we can get into some issues. I'm going to widen the perspective. And again, this isn't some huge storm, right? The Weather Channel hasn't named this. Instead, it's this area of kind of broken precipitation, but some of our model data, as this precipitation moves through, that's not working. That's weird. We can get some issues here as all of this kind of glides this way. But it's not a nor'easter. We're not going to have big winds or anything, but that's sometimes when it's most dangerous when it comes to ice. Ice is a sneaky little thing. Kind of intrigued by that stuff on the back too. I wonder if that catches up. I think it does. That's probably for this evening into tonight. And I'm not sure all the data I looked at had this, but see this here? Actually, I think it did. Okay, and I'll show you future radar, but I think this is going to come in here too. And that's not ideal. So it probably fills in and we get into steadier precipitation later today and into the evening. And it concerns me because there's nothing to push the temperatures up. There's no big southerly wind. Instead, it's a light northeast wind, so the temperatures are stuck, especially, I'll say it again, when the sun goes down. Isn't that a Kenny Chesney song, when the sun goes down? Well, his lyrics say everything gets hotter when the sun goes down. I'm telling you, it gets colder. Sorry, Kenny. And that can lead to some pretty significant problems. All right, so snowing in Litchfield, and of course, the Bantam sensor is out. Temperatures are between 27 or 23 and 28. And a lot of 26s there, and it's snowing. And again, because the sun is radiating, it's not sticking to the roads, at least not yet. Right now, cloudy skies and 28 in Thompson. We head south. Temperatures are above freezing. So this is why there's no winter weather advisory out for Old Saybrook or Madison or those areas, because the temperature will easily creep above freezing, already above freezing. But you work your way inland to Westbrook and Lyme. As this precip moves in, it'll probably be in the form of sleet, changing to rain, and that could freeze briefly on contact. It's up to 33 in Trumbull. That's interesting because it's still 32 in Bridgeport and 32 in downtown New Haven, 28 in Watertown with snow, and 25 in New Milford. This is future radar. Before I get too far ahead of myself, let's take a look at current conditions. I will get to questions. Nothing yet in Southbury. Isn't that interesting, Kelly? Because it sure looks like it was snowing there. What about Avon Farmington? I'm getting to it, everybody. Snowing in Western Waterbury. Nothing in Eastford yet, but it's coming. How much to expect? We'll get to your maps here in just a second. I was asking, everyone too anxious after last week. Greg, that's a really good point. We'll get to that in a minute because there were buses rolling when they shouldn't have been. With a much more straightforward forecast last week. Listening comprehension is important. Starting to precipitate in East Hartford. Thank you, Pam. Okay, just reading some stuff here. Will it be okay to travel? I'll get to those in just a second. We'll get to that. Keep watching. Thank you for watching. But if I answer each question, I'll just repeat myself endlessly over and over. I have a cold, by the way. And there's no tissues in here, so you're going to have to deal with my sometimes sniffling. No fun. Okay, so this is future radar. There. Showing this precipitation. Now, there's holes in this, so it's not quite as accurate as I would like, but it is showing those temperatures I just showed you, mid-20s, lower 30s, above freezing in parts of the shoreline, but not all. As we go through the next, the snow's filling in from west to east, and then there's the pink, okay? The pink in this case can indicate sleet or freezing rain. Again, this is just a computer model. It's not 100% accurate and definite, but you can see how the trend would be to have snow, sleet, freezing rain, and then plain rain where the temperatures are 32 or higher. The problem here, as we look at 2:30 in the afternoon, is I'm not so concerned about wait a second. Okay, hold on. I'm not so concerned about the 32s. It's the 30s and 31s. Just a moment. I have a lot going on in my life. Security camera goes off. It's just a truck going by. Okay. Lots of trucks going by today. Okay. Sorry. I digress. So it's 31 and lower is where we get more concerned about accretion of ice on surfaces. First of all, the trees, and then, of course, the ground. So in this case, and again, I'm not sure I totally agree with all of this, but there are some indications in the evening. Okay, we're above freezing, but I think this cold air here can be a little bit more problematic. I know it says 32 in Middletown, but if it's 30, there's trouble. I know it says 33 in Hartford, but if it's 31, there can be trouble. 31 at Windsor Locks, if that's 29, that's trouble. So I don't totally agree with this particular computer model. We do have colder solutions, and that's what's kind of piqued our concern a little bit. Here comes this next wave of precip that's out in the Ohio Valley entering Pennsylvania. That keeps it going through the evening into the night, and there can be some pockets of freezing rain. I don't know why it's saying Colebrook 39 and New Haven 33. Okay, again, that's wonky. But one thing I do agree with is this: the precip ends and the skies clear out around dawn. And the reason that concerns me is that if we do go above freezing, 33, 36, 38, see that right there? That could be a problem. You have some 20s and low 30s, so black ice can form tomorrow morning too. So let's just put that in the side of our brains, okay? So this is one computer model talking about the accretion of ice, a couple hundredths to a tenth to almost 2/10, and that can certainly be a problem. Especially when you get to 2/10 to a quarter of an inch, it can really weigh down some limbs, but I don't think it ever gets to the point where we're concerned about trees or power lines or issues like that. It's more of a safety issue of surfaces like untreated sidewalks, decks, roads, which are treated, but you got to treat them again because the precipitation's coming down. So just keep that in mind. There can be some icing issues. Snowfall on cold surfaces, we could accumulate a couple of inches, especially in the Northwest, maybe Northeast hills. All right. It's a lot of times that's like the most important factor. In this case, it's about the timing and some of the issues that go along with the mixed precipitation. So I'm not freaking out about snowfall amounts. I put a map up. I just felt like I had to, because a lot of psychology says, it'll make people react, and we want people to react so everyone's safe. 6 to 10 day forecast. Warm. Well, in most cases, we love this, right? This is great. We're going to break into spring, but there's a couple things that can happen. One of them is a thing called a backdoor cold. Ooh, wrong direction. We are surrounded by cold water. So backdoor cold fronts can happen. They're very hard to forecast, where the wind comes out of the northeast and we don't get into this. I saw one particular computer model, took us from a high of 68 degrees on Monday. In one computer run later, it was 42. So you want my job? I can be wrong half the time, you say. That'll drive you crazy. And then there's still a lock of Tuesday or Wednesday, 60s and low 70s. It's possible, but I'll believe it when I see it, and I'll believe it when I see my lawn, because it's been a while, okay? So just keep that in mind. Nothing is ever set in stone when you're out that far in the forecast. 39, 48, 57, 65, we think, but anomalies like this, where it's just crazy warm, can sometimes backfire. Okay, just saying. So we got this mixed precipitation event today that can create some problems. Better safe than sorry. As some people have mentioned in the chat last week, in the wake of the blizzard, we had this horrible afternoon commute. There were busing issues and safety issues. So I think everyone's a little bit gun shy, and they're like, let's just play. This will probably be the last one of the year. Let's just play it safe. Probably a good idea. Notice it's a less than settled 10-day forecast. We spring forward. We lose the hour of sleep. We get the afternoon daylight on Sunday, of course. And then next week, there's some showery periods in these transitions from chilly to warm, and then warm to cooler. And could today be the last day of wintry weather? It could be, but it won't be. I think by the middle of the month, Ides of March, we'll see a drop in temperatures to at least seasonable or below. Okay, so we'll see how that works. You can put that in your pipe and smoke it. And there's your shoreline forecast over the next 10 days. And let's see, we're going to put the radar up and answer some questions. And some questions are really hard to answer as far as I saw one that said, will it be safe to travel from point A to point B? Put yourself in my shoes. I don't know how you drive. I don't know what type of tires you have on your car. I don't know your skill level. So I don't know if it's safe to drive. That's a really tough question for your geeky meteorologist. How much to expect, Rita? I don't know where you're texting from, but it's not about the amount. I think I made that clear. It's not about how much. It's about what. So I don't know. Light snow in Bridgeport, which will transition to some sleet and rain. I think the temperature in Bridgeport does move up, but something we'll watch carefully. Snowing in western Waterbury. What about Avon Farmington? What about it, Dwan? I don't know what you're asking. What about? Snow, maybe a little bit of sleet, a little bit of freezing rain that can certainly freeze on contact once the sun goes down. I still can't believe there's nothing yet in Southbury, Kelly. Check back in. Hi, Yvonne. Yvonne, wait, I missed something here. Did Yvonne make a joke? I don't see what that is about. Yvonne, LOL. Did I make a mistake? Oh, well. I can't understand all the jokes. Snowing in Waterbury, says Rita. Hi, Mary Kate. Okay, you guys, this has turned into a chat room. This is cool. Will the roads get icy in the Griswold area? I do believe that can happen, but briefly, that part of Connecticut tends to turn a little bit milder, but this is a weird system with very little wind. So I think it can turn icy this afternoon in Griswold. Initially, with the snow coming in, there could be some slush, but I think as the sun goes down, things can turn a little bit icy and dicey, even in Griswold. Light snow, thank you, Angela, a regular viewer in Watertown. Snowing in South Windsor, thank you. Starting to precipitate, thank you, Pam. Danielson did an early dismissal. They probably had that window of opportunity. I hope everyone's safe and they should be okay coming home. Snowing in South Windsor. Margaret, don't be in a rush. Rebecca, will it be okay to travel? This is the question. From Prospect to Milford around 3:30. I'm worried about the return trip. I think you're rightfully concerned because the sun will be down. But I firmly believe that our DOT and DPWs will have the roads treated. So if it's something that you have to do, Rebecca, go for it. If you have the option to stay home, use your option. But I don't think it's terribly dangerous. I might regret that. Good morning. After today, what's the 10 to 14 day outlook for more wintry precipitation? Shannon, great question. I think I see rain. So I don't know how much more wintry precipitation we'll get, but it can happen later in March. It can happen in April. It's happened before. Just tell him to Lisbon at 1:30, coming home at 4. Just tell him. I don't know what you're talking about, Deb. I hope the buses will be okay at 3 p.m. in Southeast Connecticut. I think they'll be okay, but hopefully the drivers will take it easy. Starting a light dusting in Bolton. Eric, can I ask you if you're still on? Can you tell me what surfaces? Roads, driveway, or just the car? Retired to Alabama. Thanks, Jamie. I appreciate the kind words. Retired to Alabama. Nice. Started snowing in Clinton. Likelihood of early school dismissal in Clinton, I would say very low, Ashley, unless they just jump on the bandwagon. I think Clinton's okay, but I've been wrong before. Oh, gosh, I hate having a cold. Oh, Stephen. Hi, Chris. Hi, Patrick. Starting to flake in Plantsville. Snowing in Salisbury. Nancy, I love Salisbury. Yeah, Chris, I hope it happens. I like the 60s next week myself. Let's not do it too fast or we'll have ice jam flooding. Light snow in Torrington, grab a hot tea and get some rest. Yeah, it's funny. I feel fine. I just got a little congestion. So that's not great. I said to my wife, I said, I can't call in sick for a stuffy nose. She goes, no, you can't because she's tough. We're old school. I don't know. Rebecca, it's going to freeze at sundown as temperatures drop. Thank you, Mary, for doing that. Jill says, ha, 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 ha. I don't get it. Snowing in Simsbury. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate that. Snowing in Stratford. Snowing in Newington. Hey, Ryan. Again, we've turned into a group chat. Hope you feel better. Yeah, Sharon, I'll be fine. Thank you very much. I'm getting particularly worried of cold air damming in the northern tier of Connecticut. That is a term we use all the time. It's kind of what I talked about. And it can happen. I'm not overly freaked out about it because I think we get to a temperature that hopefully keeps too much ice from developing. But you know what? It can happen. And let me just do something real quick here. Let's see. I don't want that one. I don't want that one. I know this is really intriguing stuff, but many of you are just here for the fun. Current temperatures. Okay, let's do this. All right, so my wife just reported that it's snowing in Windsor. Thank you, honey. So we had single digits and teens this morning. And now we're in the 20s and 30s. And what we're talking about when we talk about cold air damming that Ben astutely comments on is that in many situations, the lack of wind concerns me a big time today. Is that in this case, I would think that cold air damming could happen like this. North of that yellow line, it could be problematic with accretion of ice. There's no big southerly wind blowing to push milder air in, but with the sun radiating in, but precipitation coming down, it's really going to be hard to have the temperatures go up. They're not going to jump to like 45 like sometimes can happen. Instead, we're going to be creeping above freezing. But this has a signal of some accretion of ice on trees and then surfaces when the sun goes down. So it's not a good situation, folks. And I can't wait to get to tomorrow, personally. Aaron says, good morning. Sweetie Pie says hello. Tatiana says good morning. Snowing pretty good here in Washington Depot. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Tatiana. Happy Tuesday to you. Good morning. I'm getting quite, Ben, again. Yeah, I know. It could be interesting. No, Yvonne, no, Bob, you are great. I saw a friend here. That's cute. You guys can all see each other in here? This whole thing amazes me. The fact that there's this many people watching me babble on about the weather. Snowing in Bristol. Thank you, Linda. Snowing lightly in Ellington. We're one day closer to spring. Kathy, I'm with you. You can't stop Father Time. The calendar never lies. Hey, Monique, what about it? They think you are Father Weather. Ain't married to Mother Nature. Good morning, Bob. Flurry's coming down in Torrington. Thank you, Lynn. Snowing in Tolland. Sue Davis. Good morning, Bob. Enjoy watching you every day. You are so right on with the weather. I tell everyone to watch your weather station. Must say that I love when you wear your blue suit. I have it on today. Enjoy your day. Texting from Brooklyn. Thank you, Sue. Appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. I think you need NyQuil in bed. Well, Robert, I'll get there at some point, but it's just a little stuffy nose. Snowing in Watertown. This is good. Is it going to be light during the day and dark at night? Oh, Aaron, that's hilarious. Hilarious. Have a great Tuesday. Okay, Tatiana, thank you. Yep, timing is an issue. We'll see if it all kind of comes to fruition with headaches, but it's funny, unless there's something bad that happens, people will be accused of overreacting, and that's not right. It's being proactive. Snowing in Southington. Ben, yeah, your nose is stuffy. My nose is stuffy. Light snow in North Haven. Snowing in Bristol. Feel better. Thank you, Tatiana. No snow in Griswold yet, just gloomy. Any minute, Gloria. Any minute. Jill asks, so this is the last day of snow. Jill, you never say never. It has snowed into early May, and it can snow anytime. So no, I will not say that. Snowing lightly, says Rachel. Sweetie Pie with some emojicons or whatever. That's great. Okay. Tracy, light snow in Wolcott. Hi. Hi. You haven't shown satellite of the lakes, Bob. Well, David, it's kind of a busy day. And plus, the clouds are in the way, so you can't see the lakes. I'm glad you enjoy that part of it. Radar. Let's widen this out just a little bit. Yeah, see, out of radar range there. Let's switch to this. There's the precipitation overspreading the state in the form of snow. Interesting. Nobody reported sleet pellets. Hey, Sandra. Nobody reported sleet pellets yet. I saw on a software called MPing that there was some sleet mixed in some cases. So let's all make sure. Also reports of some grapple. Diane says snowing in New Preston, my longtime weather watcher, and she sends me a picture. I believe her. She doesn't have to send me a picture. Oh, snow pretty good, coming along pretty good there in New Preston. Len Bestoff says light snow in Enfield. Beautiful. All right, so it's snowing. Again, just to repeat, snow will continue. I think for a couple of hours, I think we can get some slight accumulations, but it's the least of my worries. Visually, it's snowing, and visually it looks like it'll accumulate on some colder surfaces. Because the sun is out and radiating, or sun is up and radiating, I think it really has trouble, making the roads awfully slippery. Now, lesser traveled roads could get some snow on them. We can have a little bit of slush, which can be freezing, but treatments and traffic do help in a situation like this. And we'll continue to monitor the temperatures. Again, my concerns are, number one, are this. My concern is this. As the sun goes down, or even starts to get lower in the sky, giving us less of an impact, untreated surfaces, in addition to the trees, which can get an accretion as we go through the afternoon. Not worried about power outages. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me in the you-know-what. But snow, a little bit of sleet, some freezing rain, and temperatures right a couple degrees either side of 32 can be a pretty dicey situation. So if you don't have to be out later on, especially after the sun goes down, gets dark out, don't. Just play it safe, all right? Tomorrow's a much better day. Thursday and Friday, we have some showery periods in the forecast. It doesn't rain the whole time. And Saturday's the pick of the weekend right now. Okay, so let's get through today. Make smart decisions, and don't mess with Mother Nature. Okay, because all it takes is a degree or two difference, and it can become a big problem. Your problem. Okay, so let's be smart. It's not the end of the world. We're not sitting here hyping it up. I'm just saying that it's very touch and go today, and you want to be smart and vigilant in making your decision. All right. As I always say at the end, well, first of all, I'll be back tomorrow in the Weather Lab, and we'll be talking about better things. Take a moment at some point today, online, offline, in person, make someone smile. Be kind. It's really the simplest thing we can do. All right. So do so. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a great day.